Hey guys, so this week we're talking whole foods. So the goal is to eat mostly whole foods or unprocessed foods. So start off with a definition. What is a whole food? A whole food is anything that has not been processed or refined, and it's how you would find it in its natural state. So if you were to go, into nature, you would find this fruit on the tree or that vegetable on the ground, or you'd hunt your own fish. However you would find it, that is a whole food. Anything that requires a ingredients list, if it's more than that one item, then they've processed that food, and we want to stick away from that for this week.
Yeah, so for example, just like Tommy said, fruits, vegetables, things that you find in nature, things that are grown in the ground on a tree, things like fish, rice, whole grains, things that aren't pretty obvious would be like Doritos, potato chips, things that have a really extensive ingredient list. They're obviously processed and have a lot more steps to it than just being all natural. Things like cookies, candy, bread, all those kind of things. And something that, may not be so obvious, a little bit of a middle ground product, something like whey protein or yogurt even, because, we suggest, yogurt and whey protein are good sources of protein and a good dairy product, but those are even things that do have a little bit of a process to it. So yogurt, it's got a little bit of a process, maybe not as much as a cookie or chips, but it's still not technically a whole food.
Yeah. So, as Sid was saying, just because an item is healthy doesn't mean that it's not that it's a whole food. So, we do recommend good quality protein powders and yogurt, and there's certain healthy foods that actually are processed. And for this week, we're suggesting that you just experiment and do a self-experiment and see if you can eat nothing but whole foods. So that's not to say that whey protein or yogurt are bad. We're not saying that by any means, but there is a process to it, and we really want to get you kind of just thinking and kind of spark that that creativity and that experiment in you to really look at labels and to think about is this a whole food or not?
Yep. So why do we recommend whole foods? The main reason is because then we know exactly what we're getting when we eat the food. We know what's in it. If you take, some of the examples that Sid had used, fruits and veggies, you know exactly what's in those. If you pick something that's processed, we don't know what's added to it. There's preservatives, additives, there's all those extra sugars that can be put in, the fats that they add in to make it taste better. A lot of times there's a lot of salt added in. Some examples, kind of an obvious one, if you took like a Pop-Tart, there's going to be a lot of chemicals added into that. There's tons of sugar that they put in those, so you don't necessarily know exactly what you're getting. It's been processed, and something with a Pop-Tart is going to be really processed 10 times over. If you take a piece of fruit, say an orange for example, you are going to get that natural sugar in the fruit, but you also get, the fiber and some starch, and those will help slow down the digestion. So you're not going to get that real spike in your blood sugar. It's going to be slowly digested. If you took that orange and you process it into a juice, now you're removing the skin, you're removing the fiber, the starch, those added nutrients that you get from an orange, which help aid in the slower digestion, and you're going to digest it much faster. It's also a liquid, so that also makes it faster, and you're going to get that blood sugar spike. So whole foods always are going to be your better bet. The rule of thumb that we like to go with is when you go shopping, you shop the perimeter of the store. You're going to get 80% of your groceries from the perimeter. Those are going to be your whole foods, your produce, your meats, your dairy, those types of items. And then get the 20% for the rest of your groceries in the aisles. Those are going to be your rices and your wheats and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is an experiment, guys, to really look outside of the box and really think about the foods that you're eating and ask yourself, is this, what kind of steps did this go through to get to my plate. So there's a lot of healthy foods that we kind of glaze over, and we think that, you know, they must be great for us, and we don't think twice about it. Like bread, for example, bread goes through many processes of being ground, milled, and then sometimes bleached, and then enriched with. So it might be an 11-step process before it goes from that wheat to the product we see and put on a sandwich. So even things like, I've seen these products, you know, organic, you know, cookies, and you know, just because it's organic, you look at the back and they've snuck in, you know, these, you know, maltodextrin and all these crazy things, and you know, you have a concoction of things that you don't really need.
Yeah. Exactly.
So the experiment is to eat mostly whole foods, and if you're going to create a dish, use all whole foods to make it. So you can create a nice meal by mixing your fruits, your vegetables, your protein, and it doesn't have to be, you know, 3 separate things on your plate. You can certainly make a great dish using all whole foods.
Yep, and we want to see those, so post some examples on the Facebook page of the whole foods that you're eating, even if you're switching them out for something that you might have used that was processed and now you're going to go and, you know, kind of stick with whole foods. We want to see those examples and give other people ideas on the Facebook page.
All right, guys, have fun.
Bye, guys.
See ya.